This episode is sponsored in part by Catchpoint. Look, 80% of performance and availability issues don't occur within your application code in your data center itself. It occurs well outside those boundaries, so it's difficult to understand what's actually happening. What Catchpoint does is makes it easier for enterprises to detect, identify, and of course, validate how reachable their application is, and of course, how happy their users are. It helps you get visibility into reachability, availability, performance, reliability, and of course, absorbency, because we'll throw that one in too. And it's used by a bunch of interesting companies you may have heard of, like, Google, Verizon, Oracle, but don't hold that against them, and many more. To learn more, visit www.catchpoint.com and tell them Corey sent you. Wait for the wince.
Good morning, AWS, and welcome to the AWS Morning Brief. You may have guessed that I'm not Corey, and I'm not sure what gave it away, but here I am. I am this week's guest host for AWS Morning Brief, while Corey is off enjoying his beautiful new baby girl, Joseph Phoenix. She's named after me, of course. My name is Angela Andrews, and I'm a solutions architect at Red Hat and group leader for Python for All, an online Python learning community. I'm a mom of 2 and a wife of 1, and I'm also a dog mom to a handsome good boy named Scout. Corey has entrusted me with getting you the AWS news you need, as well as delivering as much snark as possible. I succeeded at the former and totally bombed at the latter. Sorry about that. But if you're ever bored on Twitter, hit me up. Please stop by and say hi at Scooter Phoenix. What happened last week in the wide world of AWS announcements? A lot. It's AWS. Introducing AWS Cost Anomaly Detection in preview. Jumping on the list as the third thing to do when you create a new AWS account. It's opting into this feature. Pop quiz hotshot. What is number 1 and number 2? Time's up. Designing a secure container image registry, because insecure image registries are so passé. Optimize IP address usage by pods in your Amazon EKS cluster. So that /20 isn't working out like you planned, huh? Well, now there is a plan B and C. Football tracking in the NFL with Amazon SageMaker. Finally, we can confirm that the ref is in fact blind. Bad calls will get less bad thanks to ground truth. Des Bryant would say, too little, too late. Successful innovation for Essence as Starchive and AWS helped deliver the 2020 Essence Festival of Culture. It is Essence Fest, but without the heat stroke, but with plenty of Janet Jackson, Belle Biv DeVoe, but no Mary J. Blige. Come on. Hot AWS EdStart startups, virtually supporting marginalized learners using EdTech solutions. As remote learning becomes more and more commonplace, it is really good to see startups working to fill in the gaps left behind by many in-person resources that became inaccessible to students in need. This is some feel-good news for your Monday morning. Centralized WAF and VPC security group management is generally available. AWS Firewall Manager. No, not him, the service. Now has an automated way to set up security policies. Introducing the new digital workplace competency. A new COVID-related industry has emerged. Just think if remote work had become a little less taboo sooner. Amazon S3 on Outposts is now available. S3 has entered the data center. Now you can keep your bucket misconfigurations to yourself. Enhanced programmatic access for IAM using a YubiKey for multi-factor authentication. It's MFA on the CLI using a TOTP, even if you use SSO and an IDP. 5 acronyms in one sentence is a record for me. Thanks. How one AWS hero uses AWS Storage Gateway for in-cloud backup. So, not all heroes wear capes. Some wear really cool glasses. Amazon TimeStream is now generally available. Metrics, IoT, and analytics, TimeStream has entered the building. They say it's 1/10 the cost of a relational database, but as with all things AWS, the devil is in the details.
This episode is sponsored in part by Chaos Search. Now their name isn't in all caps, so they're definitely worth talking to. What is Chaos Search? A scalable log analysis service that lets you add new workloads in minutes, not days or weeks. Click, boom, done. Chaos Search is for you if you're trying to get a handle on processing multiple terabytes or more of log and event data per day at a disruptive price. One more thing for those of you who've been down this path of disappointment before, Chaos Search is a fully managed solution that isn't playing marketing games when they say fully managed. The data lives within your S3 buckets, and that's really all you have to care about. No managing of servers, but also no data movement. Check them out at chaossearch.io and tell them Corey sent you. Watch for the wince when you say my name. That's chaossearch.io.
5 tips for a successful online proctored AWS certification exams. So online exams are all the rage. Make sure you pause your gallon of water a day challenge right before the exam. You'll thank me later. Autodesk adopts Amazon S3 to save 75% on storage and modernize backup and recovery. Autodesk went all in on the cloud for backup, saved money, and avoided an inevitable costly hardware refresh. So smart. Today's cloud-based databases create new possibilities and require new skills. Leveling up with training is more effective than baptism by fire. Fires are usually a bad thing, unless you're moving to a new technology. Then fire good, says some silly CTO. Seriously, get your people trained. Register now for the October 20th AWS Public Sector Summit online. There's 7 tracks to choose from the cloud newbie to advanced. It's all virtual and there are no long coffee lines. Be sure to check the time zones. From the community. Happy October. It is Hacktoberfest. If you're new to contributing to open source software, then this is your month. It's Hacktoberfest. It's not all it is cracked up to be, though, especially for some maintainers. So please, if you're going to contribute, make meaningful contributions and keep the spirit of Hacktoberfest fun and inclusive. We're in the middle of a pandemic, so it's okay to take this Hacktoberfest off. Take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. It's just a t-shirt. My former manager loves Terraform and AWS. More than Jeff Bezos loves tight t-shirts. He mentioned how stoked he was for the CDK for Terraform, and you should be too. There was even a whole day dedicated to CDKs this week. Hopefully you caught it. And that's what happened last week in AWS. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please go to lastweekinaws.com/review and give a 5-star rating on your podcast platform of choice, especially because I'm guest hosting and I'd really love for you to give me a 5-star review. Corey may have another kid someday, and I would like to be in the running for this gig in the future. Okay, thanks. But until next time, I'm Angela Andrews, this week's guest host for AWS Morning Brief. Thank you for listening, and don't forget, wash your hands, cover your mouth and nose with a mask, and by all means, remember to practice social distancing. If not, I'll be the one yelling 6 feet to remind you each and every time.
This has been a Humble Pod production. Stay humble.